All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm super excited that you guys are here tonight, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear from Tavia. She is an absolute mastermind at everything involving this business. She just has so much knowledge and so many tips, so many tricks, and she enrolls like craziness. So I knew I wanted her on the Zoom. Right when I saw her enrollments, I was like, girl, we need you. And she immediately said yes. So I'm just so thankful. So Tavia, I will go ahead and unmute you. If you want to just start by sharing your story, and we will go from there.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
Okay, so you want me to start with my story? Okay, so I have been in the business for going on 5 years. It'll be 5 years in October, which is crazy. But I am a clinical nurse specialist by trade. So I was always in that generational mindset where you graduate high school, you go to college, you get your degree, and then you work forever until you can retire because the retirement age seems to just keep going up and up and up, right? And I was like, that is like the worst like setup ever. And I always thought that. I would say to my mom every day in college, I'm like, can I retire? Like, when is it that I can retire? She's like, you're in college. I'm like, I know. But so I've always been in a mindset that I never wanted to work for anyone, to be at the mercy of anyone else. I was very independent in my mindset from a very young age. And I could tell because every single job I had, I knew that I was overworked and underpaid. And it was one of those things where I was like, this is for the birds. And so I graduated college and we moved to where we live now. Started a family really fast, guys. We had 2 kids before we even got married. We kind of did things backward, but let's just say this, that the debt started mounting, okay? And it wasn't that we were careless, reckless parents just doing whatever. It was like we were living life, and I don't know if anyone else can relate, but it was as if, you have it sounds so bad looking back, but this is my story and I want to be just honest. You have those moments where you're like, okay, well, let's just charge it to the card because that's like money, and then we'll make this plan and we'll pay it off. Well, lo and behold, what happens is that it just kept mounting and mounting and mounting. And before you know it, we're like, how did we even get here? And so I remember thinking, you guys, I was literally working 2 jobs, almost 7 days a week. I was on call a lot. I had 3 kids at the time whenever I joined this business. I just had a newborn. And I was like, okay, God, like if there's something else that I'm supposed to be doing, please, please, please present it to me. And mind you, I was still the skeptical person on the back end too. When someone would I wasn't on social media. So I didn't find this business on social media, you guys. I was literally training for my 2nd job. And this nurse mentioned that she had just joined this. And I was like, yeah, no. I didn't go to school for 6+ years just to, work in something like that you don't make money in. I was super skeptical. I thought it was a scam. I didn't believe in it. And then later that night, you guys, literally in the same night, I thought to myself, because I was working till 2 a.m., I would literally work my normal job, and then I would go to this one from 7 to 2 a.m. or 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. It was crazy. It was from home, but still, I was like locked in my office doing nurse triage. So I remember thinking in the morning, I'm like, okay, how can I just pray to God for a change? And he presents this business in some random way to me. And now I'm saying no. I literally signed up right then and there. You guys, I told my husband the next morning, I was like, by the way, we are now business owners. Okay. And he's like, what? So long story short, guys, I did not start off as a runner. Okay. I did not. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but y'all hear runners and walkers or whatever you guys call them. I was not that person. And it's funny because I look back and I'm like, how did I even get here? And it was a struggle at the time. Was 4 customers in our first 30 days. Okay. And it was a struggle getting my 4th customer, you guys. Okay. So please know if you're in that season and you're like, I literally I can't even get 1 customer and everyone's boom, 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 boom with all these customers, trust and believe your time is coming, but you got to keep going. So anyway, so I kept going. You guys, I started Facebook right then and there. Whenever I joined the business, I had no idea what I was doing, no idea. And I just started friending all these random people, which was not always especially from high school. It was just, anyway, I've had a few different versions of my friends list up to this point. What I want to say though, is that I had every reason to quit this business. I had a newborn. I wanted to go back and get my 2nd master's degree. which I was in school for. I had 2 jobs. I was bullied on social media from girls from high school. When I first joined, it was horrible, you guys. They would share my posts and literally like just make, it was so horrible. And I literally would cry every single day. I would tell my husband, like, I can't do this. This is crazy. I'm a grown ass woman. Like, and like, it was nuts, you guys. I'm like, this is not what this is supposed to be. My enroller ended up quitting. She actually went to another company. And I'm like, how are you going to like bring me on board and then just like ghost me? Whatever. Anyway, it was actually the best thing that's ever happened to me. So mind you, why I'm saying all of these things is that there were so many different parts in my business on my journey that I remember thinking, is this for me? I would doubt myself. I would second guess. I would, like think, oh my gosh, okay, like this is a sign. This is a sign. I'm not supposed to be here. This is a sign. But I just kept going. Something made me keep going. And the why that I had in the beginning started to change based on the journey that I was on. I still had the same end goal in mind of what I wanted to do to be a full-time family and all that stuff. But the evolution of the strength of my why started to increase. And I started to find my value. I started to find out what I was really good at. I started to find out that I loved building relationships. And I just kept going, you guys. So we went diamond in 6 months. We earned a $10,000 bonus. And then what happens, right? Does anyone ever hit a rank and then you're like, oh, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, like your team falls apart and you're like, what happened? Okay. That happened to me. And I think a lot of people don't talk about the highs and lows. And it's not for, them to not want to admit that it's a difficult journey, but sometimes it's admitting that you failed at something, so to speak, that it's really difficult to talk about, right? You get a rank, you get the bonus, then you lose the bonus. That's intense, right? But I'm not afraid of that because listen, I think that all of this, it happens for a reason. So I did, we lost diamond, you guys, we lost that bonus. And I'm like, what is this? I literally in that phase was building people that weren't worth building. I was putting in extra work where it didn't make sense instead of pouring into the people that wanted to be there. I was coming from a place of scarcity thinking, well, why can't my team just enroll like I can, right? Does anyone ever say that too? Cause that was me too. Why can't anyone enroll like me? What's wrong? What am I not doing? What are they not doing? It was always pointing the finger outward versus pointing it inward. And I did not realize that, you guys, until we pushed through. We went to conference. I took my husband the first time, you guys, and it lit a fire under him. And mind you, this whole time he was just taking the products. He was not on social media with me. He was still kind of sketchy, like, okay, We finally got diamond back, you guys. And then in 3 months after conference, we promoted to double diamond, okay? And, we didn't necessarily lose double, but the team definitely had its ups and downs. And it was a lot of, I never like to say rebuilding because I always really feel like I'm always building no matter where that is. But there were a lot of people that I went double with that I didn't go VIP with, okay? So we just kept going. We sat at double for a little, was it a year? I think it was almost a year. Went to the next conference, promoted again, you guys. And so now we're at this past conference this year, we were obviously VIP, and now we're pushing for presidential. It's been a long journey, let me just say, but it has been so rewarding. And what I think the biggest thing for me, and I don't know what questions you have, we'll get into that in a minute, but like, I think the biggest thing for me was just like staying super, super close to the fire. My habits had to serve me versus rule me. And I think that's where you have to find that fine tune of like what works for you. So that's kind of how I got here.
Oh my gosh. I just love you. And I just feel like I'm just like want to just stare at you and watch you like hear you talk all day long. I'm just like, yes, just like keep going. But I love it. There's so many things that I love because you said that when you were a kid, like you knew that you were meant to not work a normal job. I got fired from so many jobs because I would ask off and they'd say no. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to come in because like, I don't want to. Like I was not down with someone telling me what to do. Like it was not my thing. Yeah. And like someone been like, oh, you have to be here on Saturday the 23rd from 9 to 5 unless you want to ask off 6 months in advance. And I'm like, all right, well, you can kiss my butt. I'll find another job. Like, no.
Right.
So I love that you said that. And my employer left for another company too. And I actually love that part of my story because there really is no excuses for why you can't be successful. It's all like a matter of what you want and how hard you're willing to work for it. So yeah, cool. There are so many questions and they're so all over the place.
Okay.
Okay, let's start first with, do you do host to post? And tell us, if you do, tell us a little bit about your system there.
Yes, I do host a post. It is something that I like to say it's a culture within my team. Yes, I absolutely do host a post. I teach host a post to every single newbie. My system, honestly, guys, I would have to say I'm sure it's pretty similar to yours. I don't do anything special. So I use pretty much I go between hair, skin, and nails is my jam, but hair, skin, and nails and TFXX now. And it's probably the same standard like messages, you guys. I think so often we get in these Zooms and we say, oh my gosh, well, what wording is she using? Is she using a special wording? Guys, listen, I don't really believe that it's specifically about the wording. I think it's just about consistency and it's numbers. It's a numbers game. How many are you doing? How many are you following up with, right? So, but it is very simple. I think the biggest thing is obviously keeping them simple and not overcomplicating, or you have tons and tons of sentences that gets too difficult to read. I think that would be my biggest tip. Tag, no tag, honestly, it really doesn't matter to me, in case some of you have that question. But I do host a post. I usually do post for host to post a couple of times a week, and I rotate. So I try to do 10 a day, which is very difficult sometimes depending on how like heavy they are, because some can really blow up. So I do a few product. I do at least 1 to 2 distributor host to post, and then I do at least 1 to 2 giveaway host to posts. That is a game changer too, especially for those of you that are in a season of like, well, I don't think host to post works, or maybe it doesn't work for my audience. Do the giveaway host to post. It's almost like, think of it as like you're extending to their second cousins. Like you're having them post about your giveaway to get their people to post then about your products. Okay. So you're extending another layer that we often forget to do sometimes. So that would be the biggest tip. But yes, I do host to post, and that's how I sign, I would say, like 99% of my customers.
Yeah, I love that. I also love that you're like, just like get them up. Like some people that are like, oh, I don't know if host to post works. I'm like, just trust that that it works and just do it anyways.
Yes.
So someone said, do you get a lot of dud host to posts? I'm going to answer that for you. Everyone gets dud host to posts.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you're only getting up 1 to 2 host to posts a day and they're both duds, you're like, well, screw it. Host to post doesn't work. But if you get up 10 a day and you have one that has 30 comments, you don't care about the 5 that has 0. Absolutely. So it's 100% a numbers game. It is not a secret host to post that she does that like automatically signs her customers. It's just a matter of getting more up and consistently getting them up. How do you train your team to do host to post?
So they watch, there's a really good training by It Works. I think, let me think, Rachel Jones is on it. It's a corporate training that was just released maybe a few weeks ago. I have done our own for our team page, but I'm really focusing on working smarter, not harder. So use the Connect app with the training in there. There is a training, if you go to YouTube, it's It Works Connect not Connect, It Works Host to Post training. And I want to say it's Rachel Johnson's,
is it Amy Spence?
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, it was Amy Spence. Yes. Awesome video. I have every single newbie watch that. And then we start with the basics. Typically I start them on TFXX. It's a stable product. Majority of people that we talk to are looking to lose weight. So we try that first, and then we extend into other ones, but I never usually start them on more than one. But we get to doing it pretty much. I have a 5-day onboarding process that I take my newbies through, but they usually start host to post on day 2. So that's kind of our system. Yeah. Okay.
Someone said, when you do host to post, what is your advice when you struggle with people that don't post for you, unfollow, or place you on red? How do you handle that?
To post. Okay, so I have a lot of people that leave me. Okay, so I am doing such a high amount of messaging for host to post that if someone leaves me on read, I could care less. I don't go back up. I don't follow up. I don't really care to. I specifically say when I'm posting about my giveaway, I'll say, we're giving away this month. Must check your inbox to confirm entry. Okay. I'm very specific about that. Sometimes I'll even say must check inbox within 72 hours to confirm entry. I'll even say that. And the reason I do that is because sometimes a lot of people will comment and I don't want to get blocked. So I'm very strategic with how often I'm messaging, how many I'm messaging. And so I allow myself a little bit of time. But I would say that I don't really address the ones that aren't posting for me, whatever. If someone doesn't tag me in it, or like tag me in the comments, or tag me in the actual host to post, I'm not going to know that it's up, because in my first message, I'm like, all right, here's the post, go ahead and put it up and let me know as soon as it's up. Whether you tag me or whether you comment my name, you have to let me know. I'm very specific about that too. I put the accountability back on them, because you guys you're doing such high numbers with this. You can't possibly manage all that. So I usually do it that way, if that makes sense.
No, I love that. It's the same thing with, and with like anything. It's
Yeah.
not a secret thing that she messages if people leave her unread. But if you're sending out 100 messages and 20 people answer you, you don't care about the 8 that aren't answering because you're so busy with the 20. So just think, anytime that you're irritated with someone not answering or something not going the way you thought it was, talk to more people. That will solve your problem, I promise.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out if there's like the quickest way possible.
You're
I don't
good.
think there's any organization to like Google form that I have. So, okay. Do you have any tips for duplication and or training your new distributors?
Mm. Okay, so what I would say is this: for so long, I think, okay, so when you start this business, it is a very single focused mindset, right? You're worried about your own business, building your own team, promoting in your own way, getting your own bonuses, right? There is a point though where it switches, where you have to think larger, think bigger. You have a larger team. I realized at some point, I want to say I realized at Double Diamond, guys, like I said, I self-development was not something in the forefront of my mind for a very long time. I really didn't self-develop until I realized I was sitting at Double Diamond for too long, and I'm thinking, what is going on? And I knew instead of it being my team, it was my leadership. So what I would say is my knowledge of being able to enroll the way that I do is no good if I can't duplicate that to my team. So I do something called layered leadership. And I take every ranking box that is in either a top line box or a massive box that is pivotal in the next stage of promotion. Okay. And we have a specific group chat, and it is, it's basically already told to them that here's my expectations. Here's what I expect of you guys as leaders. You guys too, leaders is not just rank based for me. I don't really necessarily think that you have to be a ruby or above to be a leader, because I can have diamonds not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So anyway, so know that, but I do take every person that is in a ranking box or in that next promotion spot, right? And we do one-on-one focusing. I teach them and I pour everything I have into them, whether it's strategy, charting, numbers, branding, whatever that looks like. And then it's up to them to duplicate that out to their teams. So I would say that, it is a lot of communication. It's a lot of going back and forth. I'm constantly asking my leaders, what can I do for you? How can I help you show up more? It is mandatory that my leaders go live in my team page. It's mandatory that they host team trainings. At some point, you kind of have to, depending on your level and your team and maybe the culture. But there was a point where I realized I had to kind of take a step back and allow my leaders to be in the forefront, for them to not only build their own confidence as a leader, but for them to feel what it feels like being in that leadership role, right? And so that's really what we do a lot of, but we do a lot of collabing. There may be something I'm thinking in my head that I want to do, but I always ask my leaders first, hey guys, this is what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? If you're not willing to get it, because I do firmly believe that change and comfort can't coexist, right? We hear this all the time. Like, I can't be comfortable when I'm trying to change. And it is uncomfortable because I'm very red. I am very driven. I don't need anyone to motivate me. But my leaders aren't necessarily all red. So there is a different strategy that I have to take with each one of them. But I would say duplication just comes down to communication. What do you want your team to look like? What do they want it to look like? How can you meet in the middle and then progress from there, I guess?
Yeah, I love that. The next question that's somewhat related is somebody said, how do you keep your team engaged and inspired all month long, especially during promotion months?
Yeah, okay, like last month we had, I think it was, I don't know, five or six new diamonds pop. And then obviously under that, you have all those other promotions. I would say, okay, so I'm a very hype person anyway. We have a team chat that is all of my downline. And then my diamond leaders typically, or doubles, have their own team chats depending on what promotion they're going after. So we have, it's just a culture that you build, guys. I wish I could say there's a rule book of what I've done. I don't really know. I just knew that in order to, I don't think I can motivate anyone, but I can inspire them. And so every single day, whether I feel like it or not, I have to show up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, whatever's going on in my life. Doesn't necessarily mean it takes a backseat, but my team is still a priority for me. So it's showing up. And again, my leaders are held to the same expectations. So every morning it's morning we send selfies. Hey, how you doing? Okay, I tell them, drop your affirmations. Here's our GV goal for the day. We do boom countdowns. We're very hype in that regard, and that's just the culture that we built. And so the newbies coming on, they're in a separate newbie chat until they get so many customers, and then they move over into the other one. But we've already started to build the booms, the enthusiasm. It's the, hey, the daily messages every single day. How y'all doing? What can we do for you? It's the quotes that we're sending. So I don't know. I guess it's really staying close to the fire and building that relationship with your team, because they don't know that you care until they know that you care, and that's just plain and simple. Yeah. So hopefully that answers that.
It does. Sorry, I muted myself because apparently North Carolina just decided to have a thunderstorm, and it's real loud outside my house. So I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's real loud.
No.
Okay, so somebody said, how do you get most of your distributors? Do you straight out message for them, or where do they come from?
Okay, so great question. Gosh, again, I plant so many seeds. I'm talking to so many people, but this is what I would say. I do stories as a non-negotiable for me and my team. We're showing up constantly in stories. We're talking about every single thing. Just because you think it is not important, trust and believe that it is to someone else watching. First and foremost, a lot of polls, a lot of talking about your story. You can never talk about your story too much, okay? You may think that it's conceited, that you're selfish, but listen, at the end of the day, you are selfish if you are not talking about this business. What I would say though is it is all about my posting. I am very consistent with posting about my story, posting about the business in some way, shape, or form and what it's done. The biggest thing though, I would say, is a lot of my customers turn into distributors. And I have a very specific follow-up that I do with all of my customers, because I've realized over time, guys, it wasn't always like this, but I mass enroll, yes, but it is one thing to enroll and it's another thing to keep your customers, because enrolling and retention are very difficult to balance, right? I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. Like, you can enroll, but then where's the management of those customers? Are they getting what they need? And so, long story short, my customers turn into distributors. Before every customer signs, I do send a message to them. Hey, before I process this order, I don't even remember what I say. I would kick myself if I didn't ask you, but are you open to making extra income and getting healthy? I literally send the same message to every single customer before I put their order in. And you would be surprised how many people are like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's talk about it real fast. And then we end up signing them as a distributor versus a customer. So that's another tip.
I love that. That actually leads us into the next question. Someone said, how do you take care of all of the customers when you're mass enrolling?
Connect. So that's a really great question. I started this, actually, guys, honestly, if you don't have a system in place, don't kick yourself, because I literally just got one this year and I'm almost 5 years in. This is the thing. So what I do is I use the Connect app. So I sign up a customer. They're obviously added into my contact list. As soon as I sign them up, they get added into a specific folder for that month. So I have a June folder, and every customer gets added into my June folder. And I have in my Connect app, there's messages in your Connect app that you can send. I have customized mine for myself, and I send them out so often. So it takes time to set this up, guys. But I promise you, when you set up a system, you will be so grateful that you did. So I put every customer in the Connect app, and then every customer gets this from me, and I tape an energy like up to the top of here. I don't know if you guys can see that. It just says, thank you. What does it say? Thank you for supporting our small business. And it has a picture of my family, and it says, thank you so much for choosing us to order from, message us whenever, and please feel free to share your results with us. Okay. And this is the Foster family. So that's something I've been doing, and it's just something personal that I do. You don't have to do it. Yes, it takes me a minute to do, you guys. I literally have a stack like this to go through from last month. But I promise you, it goes a long way. When you're building relationships with your clients, you build loyalty, and you may find that you're not just getting customers for 3 months. Okay. My customers tend to stay on a whole lot longer than 3 months. So that helps, if that answers it.
It does. I love that. I used to send thank you cards. I'm gonna be honest. I used to send thank you cards all the time, and then I started mass enrolling. And I'm like, how the freak am I going to write out?
My husband, get someone to like, get your mom, get someone to help you.
Okay,
My husband does that part.
my fiance would totally do that, but I used to handwrite every single thank you card. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah, I can't do that.
we're gonna make a card. I'm about to go on like Shutterfly or something. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I got these from Vistaprint, and you guys, I get like every time I order 200 at a time, and it's like $40.
Yeah, so worth it. Oh my god,
yeah,
that's like genius. I literally was just talking to my fiance. I'm like, I need to do something, but that thing cannot be handwriting 80 cards. Like, no chance.
Right? Exactly.
It's insane. Okay, so I know, and you know, and every single leader in this company knows that 90% of this business is between your ears. It is 100% a mindset thing. And I want you to share on how you keep your mindset good. And if there are any specific like devotionals you love, podcasts, books, things like that, because I know a lot of times when we have new distributors and we're like, okay, let's do personal development. And they're like, what the heck are you talking about? So just kind of break it down, talk about what works for you, what you recommend, and all of those things.
Yeah. So like I said, guys, I really didn't start diving into self-development until Double Diamond. I had heard of it, but again, I was very naive to think that I thought, I know I can get there without that. I didn't really need that. I've gotten this far, like, but again, I knew that I was lacking somewhere in my leadership, right? So what I'm doing now every single day is this. So this is phenomenal for those of you that have heard of this or haven't. This is really, really good. So every single day it's like a devotional, and it really hits home. So this is a really good one. Unshakable is what it's called. As far as books, gosh, there's so many. I'm trying to think. I have a whole stack of them. I would say the biggest ones that stand out to me: 5-second rule. It's not supposed to be this way. What else? Those are my biggest ones. And I do a lot of podcasts, Pam Souders, Jade Hoopers. I really listen to anyone that is motivating. You guys don't even have to buy all of this stuff. You guys can literally go onto YouTube and just search motivation, inspiration. And, you'll have so many different people, Sarah Jackson, John Maxwell, and people pop up that are just super, super motivational. I think the biggest thing though with self-development isn't so much about this business is 80% mindset, right? But it is really about peeling back the layers of your own self to find out, okay, where does change need to happen? Where can you grow more? What can you do more of? When you are feeling yourself in your business, when you're pushing for a promotion, or maybe your team is pushing for a promotion, or you feel there's a lack of communication, something is not working right. Typically it comes as a result or lack of self-development. And that could be on your side or whoever you're dealing with. I do self-development every single morning, but guys, I don't really say that there's a limit to how often you do it. Anytime I'm in a car, it's usually something playing in the background. People hate driving with me because it's all I listen to, but it does something, and the more you hear it, the more you start to believe it. And the more you start to believe it, you start to actually exemplify it and live by it, It's very difficult, something I work on every single day, even 5 years into the business, you guys. I still have doubts. I still have like, oh my gosh, okay, like we're pushing for this massive promotion. Like, what if we don't make it? What if we do make it? Last month we put out that we were going presidential. Guys, we didn't make it to presidential, but it was one of the best months ever. And I tell my team, I'm like, listen, if you're not willing to put it out there, then you're not willing to push for it. So in order to get to that next level, it's extremely uncomfortable, but you have to put it out there whether or not you get to that point, and I tell my team too, I'm like, rejection is protection, guys. Stop always worrying that every no you get, it makes you fall further back of how, fast you're supposed to get to that goal. Rejection is protection. It's protecting you from something or someone that isn't supposed to be a part of your journey. And I think the other biggest thing, I don't know if it's a question, but it's staying in your own lane. I think so often we look sideline and we say, oh, well, I joined when she joined and she's now 3 ranks ahead of me. Like, what am I not doing right? And I was the victim of this too, you guys. It's so easy to do because we see all of these amazing people on social media and we're like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe if I do it that way, then maybe I can advance faster. But guys, you have every single thing that you need already. There is nothing else that someone else can necessarily give you that makes you propel to that next level. Okay. That resides within you. And I think that you've got to be able and willing to stay in your own lane and trust the process. That's it. Because you're going on your own journey for a reason. And it could be because your team behind you has a lesson that you don't even know you're about to learn yet. And so I guess that would be my biggest tip for that.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you touched on comparison, because I for so long was stuck in the comparison game. And I think it was Morgan Martin. I always say Morgan McIntyre. Morgan Martin, who said
Yeah.
if you were locked in a room with no windows, you wouldn't know if you were going fast or slow or just as quick as everyone else. You would have no idea. But because we look at all these top leaders, we wonder what's wrong with us. What am I doing wrong? Am I not good at this? Am I not meant for this? And you guys, I promise you, coming from someone who it took 2 years to go Ruby, your journey means something. Your journey is for a reason. There will be someone that you tell your journey to one day and they'll say, oh my gosh, I can do this because you stuck through it. You would be shocked how many people I've told, hey, it took me 2 years to go Ruby.
Yeah.
And I'm still here about to go triple diamond.
Yeah.
And just know that whenever you're in those places where you don't know if you can do this, or you don't know if you're good enough, or whatever the devil's telling you, ignore it. You are good enough. There is a reason for what you're going through. You are meant to be here. There's a plan for you. So, okay, cool. Do you have anything that you would say, like if you could give a tip to, I always flip-flop each training between like a brand new person, or we're going to do, if you could give one tip to someone who was working on a promotion, they feel like they might be a little bit too far, they still need distributors, they still need more volume than they think is possible, what would you tell them for getting their promotion done this month?
So, you know what I would say is, I would say we serve a pretty big God. That's what I would say. And some of the stories that I've seen and heard of like how much volume, like even though we missed presidential last month, you guys, like we started out needing like, 50, I don't know, like just shy of 50,000. Okay. Our team literally added on almost 30,000 in volume. That was the highest we'd ever done. And, yeah, we didn't go presidential, but that was massive movement. And listen, presidential and even triple, even double, some of these ranks you guys are talking about, like, okay, look at it like this. Those ranks are great. Yes, they're great. Okay. But when I sit here and I say to my team, all right, guys, we just need 50,000 in volume. No big deal. Right. I am not just going for presidential for me. I'm going presidential for my team. And the reason why is this, is if I were to say it's 50,000 of volume to go presidential and they're looking at their 3,000 of volume that they need to go, emerald or to go diamond, it doesn't seem as big, right? So it helps them sort of normalize their goal whenever they see mine, right? I'm taking it for the team and I'm saying, okay, guys, I'm putting the burden of 50,000 G's on my shoulders. And I want you guys to know that anything is possible, because if I can do this, you can do this. And along the way, you guys, along the way to that journey, you're going to unlock so many promotions for your team. And that is one of the most humbling things ever. I think for me, especially knowing that, yeah, my promotion's great, but how amazing is it that you can literally change someone's life whenever they're promoting too. So, I would say we serve an amazing God. I would say that you need to work on yourself every single day. It's a non-negotiable whenever you're promoting. I would say communication, huge, 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 huge. Yes, it's tiring. I mean, when you promote, I don't know. I mean, many of you, I'm sure, promoted, but it's an intense thing, right? It is you have to sacrifice a lot. There is, and I think the biggest thing for me, what I used to do, and I still do it to this day, is I have talks with my husband and my kids, and I say, all right, guys, Mom's going for another promotion. Here's what this is going to look like. And this is why I'm doing this. And if you see that I'm on my phone and you're trying to have a conversation with me, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I'm really, really focused on what I'm doing. But if you give me just a few minutes, I promise to give you time, to time. And it's always about talking and communicating, because I didn't always do that. And because I didn't always do that, I had this guilt of like, okay, I'm locked in my office and they're out there having a good time, right? And they're not fully comprehending or realizing why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it seems as though it's that their time isn't valuable for me when it is, right? So because I didn't communicate that, they don't see it the way that I see it. So I would say that too is huge. When you're promoting, you have got to communicate with every single person, because it's going to take a lot of you, and you don't want to have the guilt on top of having to promote on your heart either, because that makes it harder.
Yeah, 1,000%. Every single promotion month, I've always told Matthew, I'm like, hey, here's another month where like you're gonna see a lot more of my face in my phone. But the thing is, I've always kept him involved where he knows I could go out right now. He's playing with our new puppy and say, hey, how much BV do we need for triple? And he would know down to the single BV because I talk about it so much and he's so involved and he knows why we're doing what we're doing. But you guys, if I didn't tell him and he was like, why the freak are you in your office for 6 hours a day? Like, what are you doing? It would be a lot harder. But when you get them involved and like, if you have kids, like tell them, hey, mommy needs to get a customer and a distributor every single day, and then get them involved and say, like, okay, like, will you put a sticker on this board showing that I did it? Because then if you get them in that routine and then they're like, hey, mommy, can I put a sticker up? And you're like, no. Listen, I liked stickers as a kid. Your kid probably won't like that. They're going to be a little mad they can't put a sticker up. So instead of feeling guilty about working, get your family involved in your sports system so that they know what you're working towards and they don't feel like you're just ignoring them. And the other thing is make sure your team knows too. Like, don't just be like, all right, we're going to hit diamond this month. And like your team doesn't know, because your team will rally with you if they're aware of it. Like if they know we're working towards something, it's a lot more fun. So I just love that. And you guys, I love that you said we serve a really big God, because we do. You guys, there is nothing. I don't care if you're telling me your goal is diamond and you have 0 distributors and 0 volume right now. Guess what? That's not too far. People have done it. People have joined and went diamond in a week.
Yeah.
So why are you telling yourself that you can't? There's no reason why you can't. It's just a matter of you believing that you can and then actually putting the work in to make it happen.
Yes.
You got to have the belief, you got to have the work, and you have to lead your team. You can't wait for them to do it yourself or themselves. And you can't expect for God to just like sprinkle on BB. Listen, he will give you lots of extra BB. You'll have people that message you that you haven't talked to in 6 months that are like, hey, can I place a 200 BB order? And you're like, where the heck did you come from? But if you're not talking to anyone, if you're not putting the effort in, God doesn't have any efforts to bless. You have to do the things. So thank you so much for your time tonight. I know you're probably going crazy because you're going present. I'm so excited for you. Oh my gosh. But I appreciate you, and I know everyone on here appreciates you. So I hope you have the best Thursday ever. I will put this up on YouTube tonight, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, guys. Bye.